schedule and conduct virtual interviews, all from your employer dashboard. Earn up to $500 in sponsored job credits by interviewing on Indeed. Visit Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Northville Lumber is Michigan's largest Trex decking dealer. Builders, remodelers, and homeowners love to buy more Trex decking and railing from Northville Lumber than anywhere else. Northville Lumber has the best products, the best selection, and the best price. Northville Lumber is the place to buy Trex decking and railing, as low as $1.59 per foot. No one can beat that price. Professional builders and remodelers, no need for special orders. Northville Lumber always keeps it in stock. Call Northville Lumber now at 248-349-0220.
Symbolically and in X's and O's to a hungry franchise. Hutchinson is a symbol of progress for a franchise that needs one in the worst way. He actually wants to play for the Lions in the NFL by putting the Lions on Hard Knocks this summer, awarding the city of the Lions the NFL draft in 2024, is placing a bet that the Lions won't be a laughing stock much longer. Hutchinson's at the center of it. Most accomplished player at the highest level of college football last year. He and his family in Vegas before the draft were praying. They quote his sister, "I hope he goes to Detroit." I think of that. When's the last time someone has wanted a loved one to go to the Lions? Night Train Lane, Joe Schmidt. In the end, the Lions' record will be more on Jared Goff than Aiden Hutchinson, but this franchise in this region needs the player and person that Hutchinson is. Little pressure, though. Little pressure.
A little pressure.
Yeah,
A lot
I'm
of
being
pressure.
sarcastic. I
Yeah,
know.
1957.
Absolutely.
To now, and you're the guy that's supposed to bring them out of.
Yes.
We talk about slumps.
Yes. Okay, so Peter King's not alone. Scott Pioli, you might remember him. He was considered a very valued member of the New England Patriots.
Yes.
General manager. I believe he's Bill Parcells' son-in-law as well. And then suddenly he didn't have Tom Brady, went to Kansas City, and didn't go so well.
Yeah.
But he is highly respected. He works now for NFL Network. Here's what Scott Pioli had to say on a team that might be the most improved next year.
I know you guys are talking about teams that are probably going to have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl, but I want to talk about the Detroit Lions. I'm not talking about Super Bowl. That is going to improve dramatically, and I think they will. This team sure seems to love and respect and trust their head coach, and that is critical. The Lions finished up strong in Dan Campbell's first year. After starting 0-10-1, they finished the year 3-3. And their last 6 games had real tangible signs of improvement. You look at the sack differential. In the first 11 games, they were -12. The last 6 games, they were +6. In terms of penalties, playing smart, clean football. In the first 11 games, they were 7.1 average penalties per game, then 4.5 in those last 6 games. The other place I saw improvement, Rick Gosselin every year puts out his top special teams groups, and the Lions were ranked 7th in the NFL. Those are the detailed things that I believe Dan Campbell's paying attention to. They also have a terrific up-and-coming head coach in Aaron Glenn. So to me, I see a team on the rise.
Whoa!
Yeah, team on the rise.
The cornbread, the Kool-Aid, it's being drank and eaten internationally and locally.
Yes. And this is the first time that nationally we've been caught drinking the Kool-Aid before. A little bit when we get the new GM, the new head coach. This one has to be the one that turns things around. And I'm surprised that there wasn't more love from Peter King, not to Aiden Hutchinson. Obviously gave him a lot of love in the bonus section of his 22 influential. And maybe this is to come. It's more of a wait to be seen. But all of this buzz nationally is coming more from what Brad Holmes is doing. What he did last year's draft, what he did this year's draft, in trying to unload a star and a person that the franchise had based pretty much everything on, and parlaying that into draft picks, parlaying those draft picks into higher picks. Now Jameson Williams, talking about pressure,
Right.
There's some pressure on him, and
Yeah.
whether he realizes or not, but there's pressure on that pick because of who it's connected to.
Oh, absolutely. Look, Holmes, maybe he's not getting the national love because many people believe his first picks each of his first 2 years were basically anybody could do.
Yes, I agree with that. But when you look at what he did in the later rounds
know.
with Amon-Ra St. Brown, you look at him being able to parlay those, 32 and 34 into Jameson Williams, coming away with what people think are the best offensive and defensive players in the draft, save the ACL.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot riding on that ACL.
Yeah, and he might have found a diamond in the rough later in the draft this year again as well.
Yep.
A little birdie told me that the linebacker
Rodriguez.
is somebody that a lot of teams really coveted, and some teams, one in particular, was very upset in taking.
Does that have anything to do with your meeting this weekend?
It might.
Could be.
It might.
Yes. You know what? It'll be interesting to see how Rodriguez does play
Right.
and how they use him.
Yeah.
Because they do have some guys that are going to be utilized on special teams, and how much play he gets as a, play in, play out linebacker will be, is TBD.
Yes.
I mean, as Dan Campbell had said, there's a lot of competition to get on the field as a linebacker, and I believe it's not because there's high-end talent, it's because they're kind of all the same.
Yeah. All right. Our telephone number 248-539-9797. Here's Chris Villar.
WXYT FM and WXYT HD1 Detroit. An Odyssey station. Sports headlines all day, every day. From the Sold by Mike Z Sports Desk. This is 97.1 The Ticket.
Brought to you by Michigan Hair Restoration. Following 3 straight wins at home, the Tigers lose 3 straight on the road.
The 2-2 is swinging a fly ball to left. That'll do it. That one's deep, and that ball is caught by Castro up against the wall. Judge will tag and score, and the Yankees walk it off in the bottom of the 10th inning.
Dan Dickerson with the final call right here on 97.1 The Ticket. The 5-4 walk-off loss at Yankee Stadium in 10 innings, solidifying the New York sweep as Detroit was outscored 21-4 from Friday to Sunday. Manager A.J. Hinch says they were simply outplayed and out-executed. After a 20-1 loss, Michigan baseball still with another chance to win their regional against Louisville. The two teams will play again this afternoon, with the loser to be eliminated from the NCAA tournament. The Chips have already been sent packing after falling to Florida 6-5 in their pod. After Will Power wins the final duel on Belle Isle for the Detroit Grand Prix, Team Penske getting that home victory. Power will lead a caravan later this morning to signify the transition to downtown Detroit for 2023. A blowout loss in the Bay Area. The Warriors bounce back to beat the Celtics in Game 2 of the NBA Finals. 107-88, they even the series. And the Lightning win at home in the East NHL Finals, beating the Rangers 3-2. They still trail New York 2-1. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Chris Villar. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket and Odyssey.com.
Live from the Jamie Samuelson Studio, Stoney and Jansen on 97.1 The Ticket.
All right, thank you very much, Chris. We'll get into the NBA coming up around 7:18. What you saw last night, and I have a stat from that game that was just absolutely.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. There's some great figures and stats in that game.
There's one that just there's actually 2 that I'm even thinking of, but there's one that just I can't believe it even existed last night.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, the NFL has allegedly finished its Deshaun Watson investigation, John.
It has, and I'm curious if they're including number 24 in that investigation, because number 24 is supposed to be filed today.
I know.
So we went from 22 for a long time, and no grand jury indictment for Deshaun Watson, to last week it increased to 23 after the HBO series. This week it's going to increase to 24. We have no idea where this ends or stops in terms of the number, but the NFL has said that they have completed their investigation. We should hear, I would guess, sometime this week.
You would hope so.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to make this,
Well,
if they didn't make a statement that their investigation is done, it has been leaked out, and we know that the NFL, they test the waters, you might say.
Well, even though the investigation is done, that doesn't mean the discussion and trying to figure out what penalties are done. So I wouldn't imagine they wouldn't say anything until that is been settled.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. Right. That's going to, because that's what everybody wants to know, is what this suspension is going to be. Is it a year? Is it 2 years? And so we have really no indication what that is. But we did hear from Deshaun Watson's attorney on Friday.
Oh, the porn star?
Yeah, Rusty Hardin. And Rusty Hardin had this to say about what's legal and what's not legal.
I don't know how many men are out there now that have had a massage that perhaps occasionally there was a happy ending. All right? Maybe there's nobody in your listening audience that ever happened to. I do want to point out, if it has happened, it's not a crime. Okay? Unless you are paying somebody extra or so to give you some type of sexual activity, it's not a crime. And so at the end of the day, that's another thing that would affect doing something or saying something or being a way that makes you uncomfortable is not a crime. And so we had two grand juries find that, and nobody seems to want to listen.
Lot to break down there.
Yeah, now, depending on how much was charged, the massage, was it just happened to get a massage and that happened, a happy ending occurred? Or was there a surcharge?
I don't know. You'd have to ask his...
Like Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
Or the masseuse.
Or the one that employed the masseuse, the pimp that we... That's the way I like to label her. But when you go on social media to find, and I trust me, I get it that the next generation is using social media in ways that I have absolutely no idea in how they're using it. It's where sometimes you get your news, you got to verify it. It's to find massage therapists, right? Would have never thought to look on social media. But he has now done this allegedly 24 times, 24 different masseuses, and they are alleging that he, and I also don't know the legality of if you say something or do something that makes another person uncomfortable, isn't there's something in there, it seems to me like that's the beginning of sexual assault.
Well, depending on,
What you do makes you uncomfortable. What you say.
Yeah. Okay, but if it's just what you say.
And I don't trust me. I've had a lot of massages.
I understand that,
and they have not ended in happy endings. Like, is he saying that it was an accident? That he just
she was so good massaging his back.
I couldn't stop.
Well, that could happen. I understand. That once, but not
24 times. 24 times. Come on, let's use common sense.
Maybe that's his fetish. I'm not saying that makes it right, wrong, and different. I don't know. But I don't see how if he says something that's can be any. We're taking it as sexual assault.
Well, it depends on what those words are.
Well, it's not assault, though. Even if he says...
Okay, if he says it, but but he also says if he does something...
Okay, that's different.
Right.
Okay, well, that part's different. I'm not going to argue there, especially if she does it without her consent.
Yeah. But, at some point, now, obviously, we don't know all the details. And what we do know is that a grand jury did not indict him on criminal charges.
Right.
And I understand that, as I have learned, it doesn't take a whole lot to get a grand jury indictment. So the fact that they didn't indict him does say something. However, and maybe it's just bad decision making on him to continue to go through social media or to go through so many different masseuses. But 24, and now there's something else that has come out. And the two attorneys are arguing back and forth on will evidence of 23 of them be introduced in a single case. And case law, it generally says that it's not, but there is exceptions to it. I'm going to get in the weeds a little bit. Rule 404B, whatever that means, all right?
What rule book?
I'm guessing a law, federal or state or whatever, but it says generally prohibits evidence of any other crime, wrong, or act to prove a person's character in order to show that on a particular occasion the person's acted in accordance with the character. So you're not allowed to pull in all of that different evidence. However,
there's an exception to this. There's a codicil here?
Yes. It contains a key exception. It says this evidence may be admissible for another purpose, such as proving motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, absence of mistake, or lack of accident. Okay? So, I don't know that you can say it was an accident 24 times.
No.
And I also think that you can look at it and say intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, like all of those things seem to be present if you're doing this 24 times, and those are the ones that have come forward.
Right. You're assuming also that, with the investigation being over by the NFL, that they've talked to at least 22 different women, right?
I'm not making any assumptions when it comes to the NFL and their investigative prowess.
You would assume if you would talk to every single woman that filed a civil suit or made a claim against